What is up, everybody? This is David Stephen Patterson. You probably know me as DSP, and I'm the current reigning champion. And today we have our challenger, Neil Lebovitz.
You're going down, brother. You're going down. You ain't seen nothing yet. You're going down, my man.
If you want to be the man, you gotta beat the man. All the people's elbow. I don't know the wrestling terms.
Tattoos don't intimidate me, brother. Never have, never will.
Oh man, that's what I got them to intimidate you. They're actually the paste on kind, so they're actually fake.
Why did you get them? Did you get them just because you felt tougher? Like what? I don't even know. Do you have do they all have meaning on them, or just go for a cool design? We never talked about your tats, brother.
No, cool design. Actually, these are all Greek gods. I've actually just not done. The pandemic kind of stopped the work, but I still got to get some filled in, and there's some on my shoulder needs to be done. But no, and then I'm gonna start working on the next arm here pretty soon.
Why Greek gods? Why Greek gods?
I like Greek gods. And in fact, I've got
So some people I don't understand that for body art. Like if I date a girl and she's all tatted up, I don't mind if they're if they mean so. Like, this is my daughter who died when I was 5. This is my parents. We had this bond when we grew up. We ate Spam. So I want the Spam camp. I mean, not that I really want a girl with a Spam food as a tramp stamp. But so yours, the gods have meaning to you?
No, I mean, I don't think you need to have some deep meaning, because here's the thing is that, I agree, for example, maybe a kid or something like that. But honestly, when somebody is in their early 20s and something on the back says strength and courage or whatever, it's like, dude, you're fucking 22. You don't know anything, or some Chinese symbol meaning purity or whatever, whatever. Just get something that you like, you know what I mean? That you like, that you identify with, that you think is cool. It has to have necessarily meaning. And
I'm not. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm also not one to ever I'm not a big fan of writing as well. So, the people writing, no regrets.
Right. That's a funny one. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I love when they're misspelled. Now, the misspelling is. How does that happen? That needs two people to you can be an idiot and say, here's my design. But how does the tattoo artist not interrupt with a spell check and say, are you sure you want to spell it with the I after the E? Because there's not accuracy.
What you do is you do not get a tattoo artist who's on his last day. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't care. Yeah. So no, actually, so my tattoo artist here in Tampa. So he won't write words on it because he misspelled something once. He's like, all right, after that, I'm not even taking the risk. So a lot of tattoo artists won't write anything on there. So
one day with technology, we're all going to have built-in word autocorrect. So when the tattoo artist goes in there, it's going to highlight it in red, and they're going to know to fix it.
So I got that's actually a pretty good idea. I got one of Neil. Why are you talking about my tattoos? Are you intimidated?
Well, I'm not. That's the thing. You're the sweetest guy. But if I saw you on the street, I would racially profile you. I would expect you to be a douche. You look like a douche.
Wait a minute. How is that racially profiling? Is douche a race?
Douche is a race. You're protected under article of the. You're protected. Because no, not a douche. You look like you look like you're not. You're right, you're the sweetest, freaking greatest guy, and you anyone that's burly and has to put tattoos on to show that they're a man and tattoo their whole body. That's again just a way I would assess you.
Maybe
that's not why you're doing it. I get it. Yeah. And you freaking work out. You got an Adonis body. You got a wrestling belt freaking strung over your shoulder for no reason. I would view you as this is a guy I would never hang out with. Yet I can't wait to get down to Tampa to hang out with you. And you would view me as a pussy Jew boy.
I'm a riddle wrapped in an enigma, or is it an enigma wrapped in a riddle? It was one of the two. I can never remember which one. But anyway, with that said, I will say we have a great guest who's going to be coming on in a few minutes, Mr. Quamy Dean, and he has been a regular in the Headhunters executive recruiter community and in the and Ursa, the independent recruiting God dang it. What's
You
the
got
title
it,
again?
brother. Just go
I know it's
independent
Ursa.
recruiter staffing agencies and headhunters. The H at the end is silent. Ursa. It
Okay.
used to be independent recruiters and staffing agencies, which was Ursa with an A. And then we wanted that headhunters for keywords. And also they're headhunters, but the independent recruiter, the headhunters. So independent recruiters, staffing agency, and headhunters. Ursa, IRSAH. But it's never caught on because I don't make that. Your brand is Herc. You start off with Herc, everything's Herc. Hello, people from Herc. No one really says, hey, people from Ursa. So it's kind of a lame acronym. Mine.
Well, I'll tell you what, we even have shirts. We have Headhunter shirts, and we're actually coming out with some Herc shirts. We have some Herc hats, some Herc gear. It is going to be pretty. Oh, look at that Boss. There's a Boss shirt. That is pretty good. I need to get one of
What
those
does that
Boss.
stand for, David? Back office staffing solutions, where we help you place temporaries, we payroll and we fund contractors, compliance. We can just be your funding and our beautiful portal. Make sure you check out www.backofficestaffingsolutions.com.
All right, so everybody, I had to take Neil off there. He's pitching too early.
Wow, that's the first time you sent me to the green room. Can I tell you what happens? It's really weird. When you just did that, I literally went into a green room, like virtually everything started spinning and I was surrounded by green. That happens to our guests. Quamy right now is being surrounded in a room of spinning green.
That's pretty neat. I didn't know that was in the green room. I'd send myself to the green room, but I don't want to. So, there you go. I control the controls of the show, which is pretty sweet. Hey, by the way, that said, I will say this about the show. So this is our season 2. I thought this was episode 1, as it turns out. Our last episode with Will Spangler was episode 1. So
right.
I screwed up there. But starting with episode 3 of season 2, we're going to be live on LinkedIn. How cool is that?
Are we live? Well, you said we were going to go live today on LinkedIn.
No, not today. I want to promote it a little bit. So this is going to be the last one. We're live. We're not on LinkedIn, but next week we should be on LinkedIn. And
I believe that when I see it. We were supposed to be on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes. None of that's happened, brother. That's why we've got hundreds of viewers, literally 7 viewers.
We're number 1 on Apple, Spotify, Tune things.
Yes, agreed.
All the lists. We will be anyway. We will be. All right. Well, that said, let's bring on Quamy, because I think this conversation is going nowhere fast. All right, you ready to bring on Quamy and see what's going on with him?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring in our guest.
Here we go. Hey, what is up, Quamy?
Hi guys, how are you?
We are.
What is up, man?
Quamy Dean, everyone. Quamy.
I have to say, Quamy. So Quamy is a bit of a he's an enigma, riddle, one of those. So here he is. You're what, Samoan, right? Like you look Samoan.
I look
Samoan. Is that Pacific Islander? Pacific Islander?
No, I'm not Samoan. I was born in Scotland to Indian parents, and I lived in Australia for 18 years.
Get that look though, like that Pacific Islander look, at least partly.
I got that handsome look.
It is. You're pretty handsome. You're a good-looking man. I'll tell you that. You are a good-looking man.
Even if he's not good-looking, if you have that Scottish accent, which I'm not going to lie, I didn't know if we had any topic to talk about. I have no idea whether you could provide value. As soon as we talked, Quamy and I have become Facebook and online buddies. Like, we just chat. I get my vaccine. He calls me to just check in on how I'm doing. Freaking great guy, really. Like, we just get calls once in a while. But as soon as I heard the accent, I'm like, you're coming on the show. Like, I don't understand half of what you friggin' say, dude. Honest to God. And you're
I'll try and speak slow for the audience.
Hey, Quamy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've always wanted to know this. What in the world is a shillelagh?
A shillelagh?
Yeah.
I have no friggin' idea, buddy.
And you call yourself a Scotsman.
I've not heard of a shillelagh. Never heard of it.
Oh, wait a minute. That's Ireland, is that? That's Irish. God dang it, I always mix them up. That's Ireland. Okay, guys. I think a shillelagh is Irish, actually, come to think of it. My bad.
I've just looked at it. It's a wooden walking stick and a club, typically made from a stout, knotty blackthorn stick. I've never heard of it.
Never. I have no idea what you just said. That's Irish, what I love about talking to you. Could you say? Can you repeat just for the audience? Could you say, Captain, we have no more dilithium crystals?
Captain, we have no more dilithium crystals.
You gotta say it faster, but pretend you're talking to Captain Kirk.
Captain, we have no more dilithium crystals.
All right, Captain,
Okay.
I've
Now-
given
now-
it all she's got.
I
Sorry?
have to do that one.
Captain, I've given it all she's got.
Captain, I've given it all she's got.
Perfect.
That's
Perfect. You are as
fantastic.
good as Scotty.
Is this some Star Trek reference?
That's Star Trek. Captain, I've given it all she's got.
I've
Yeah.
not seen it for about 30 years, but I used to love it. It was a
Yeah,
great show.
I was a Next Generation guy personally. All that other latest stuff, like was it Picard? Horrible. Oh, it was so bad. I couldn't make it past the first episode. Next
But
Generation,
he's
man.
a great
that
actor,
was
dude. He's
Star
a
Wars.
great actor. But enough of that. I think I want to talk about topics trending this week, if you don't mind. A segue to, and it's just all over. I don't know why all of a sudden in like the last 2 weeks this is all over all the groups, but clients are stealing people. Like and people are asking, what do you do if someone steals someone? I just had a client. So honestly, like has to be like 5-10 posts just on this. And people, what do I do? How do I deal with it? And the advice. There's great advice in them, but there's some horrible advice. There's mixed advice. Everyone's first reaction is, here's the name of my attorney. And although I think you need to sue if you need to sue, but suing's a pain in the ass, and you're going to lose a client, which you're going to say, well, it's a client I don't want. Just make sure you know. Like some people ask, well, have you had much business? And I've seen, well, yeah, I placed 10 people in the last 2 years. What have you seen all that going on? What do you guys think about that? What's the right answer? How do people deal with that? And what's a way to find it?
So I think
Probably good.
I think in the 20 years that I've been in the industry, clients do steal people, but I would probably say that it happens due to bad process. You didn't have the terms and conditions signed. Lots of detail that you missed out on. So I would have to understand each and every context. And that's where a lot of people, I don't know, if you just flick a resume to a customer that you've never spoken to, and then they're calling that stealing. Yeah, that happens a lot. That's happened for 20 years. I wouldn't say it's anything new. I don't know. I'd have to understand more of the context of the situation.
But I'm saying it's been prevalent in the last couple of weeks. Like I've once in a while, someone asked that. I've just seen a lot of it. So I don't even know why is it happening more. Like it vexed me.
Well, I think it's a matter of, I think people are seeing it posted more, and I think it tends to be like, oh, somebody else posted it, let me post my story. That could be it. But I will say this: my personal thought on this is, obviously you want the terms and the terms and conditions to be spelled out in the agreement. But I will say this: one rule I've always lived by is do what's right and don't be a stickler. So, for example, you submitted somebody 10 months ago. Your agreement says a year. You submitted somebody 10 months ago, and you never drove the deal home. And then somebody was referred. Turns out to be the same person 10 months later, and they're hired in another department. Are you going to go be a weenie and go try to get the fee? Maybe you could. But this is an important client, so you've done a lot of business with. You can go there and say, "Hey, here's the situation. Technically, falls under the terms, but then again, you hired them for referral."
I agree. I've seen those, and I absolutely like.
Yeah.
So what that your contract says something, just like they're not going to honor stupid. So, well, it's the same deal where someone put in, someone left on day 91, and I'm entitled to my fee, and they didn't pay, and now they want a replacement. Give them a friggin' replacement. What are you going to stick to the fact that, well, my stopwatch just went past the point. Sorry, you're 8 minutes late. Like that. What is that? And then some people say contract's a contract. You wouldn't be able to go into your car and 2 days later have them honor your warranty. I'm like, well, that's Ford. It's not Joe's freaking recruiting agency. I don't know. I think I've never had an issue with stuff like that. But there's so many people who disagree with me.
Build goodwill. It depends on the situation, obviously. It depends on the client, but build goodwill and use it to your advantage. But at the same time, don't cut your nose off to spite the face. But at the same time, don't be a pushover either. But I think there's a lot of nuance there. It really does depend on the situation. You have to be able to look at it from both sides personally. But again, I've learned a lot over the last couple decades in this business that I probably have lost more money being right over the years until I gained some maturity. When I was young and dumb and just headstrong and just would want to argue with clients, I've lost I lost a lot of money because that no matter how right I was, right?
Yeah,
So
you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think fundamentally you got to remember this is a people business. And one of the things about people business is about relationships. So you can be, excuse my language, an asshole and decide to stick to the terms and conditions, but you're going to use a long-term revenue. And the consequences of that, it's going to cost you a lot more to get a new client than to keep an existing client. So you've got to look at the maths and the numbers and actually see if the relationship's worth it. You've got to look at the context of each situation differently. If you sent a resume and you call that stealing a client, and the guy, somebody else in somebody department in another resume, that's not really stealing. Do you know what I mean?
No,
So you got to,
what would you do if you were the client? That's the first thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, and again, if a recruiter sent me someone and it was just a resume, or I found them through another event, and they come to me, I'm not going to want to pay that fee. I'd be like, come on, dude. Like, just.
I actually thought that problem quite long and hard. And I actually thought, me and my team of UX and developers and stuff, and we actually thought, if you send a resume or whatever, why not have a disappearing timer? So after 2 weeks or whatever, they don't have access to that. So they're less likely to be able to go into their inbox and find that guy. Does that make sense?
You mean like Snapchat, where you just send them a resume and it disappears?
And it disappears for a period of. Yeah, and the recruiter makes that decision. I'm only going to give this client access for a day or 2 days or whatever, or a week, because the stealing happens because you make it easy for the client to steal. If you make it a bit harder, they're not going to steal. I mean, you've all heard of the Hawthorne effect, haven't you?
Nope.
Hawthorne effect is that we all act differently when we're being watched. So if there's tracking and stuff done, I see that you access that resume 9 months later into that vault, the technology needs to evolve.
It's funny. I forget. I didn't know it was called that. And no joke, I learned it at Stanford. And people, same thing. If they put a camera in, or there's a monitor and they found out if there's another person in a restroom and you go to the bathroom, if no one's there and you don't think anyone's watching, like 90% of men do not wash their hands. If there's someone else there watching, most wash their hands. What's disgusting? Not washing your hands after going and taking a piss?
You every time, no matter what. And I will say,
I don't. Here's why.
Yeah.
Why is it disgusting?
But
you know what? I don't want to touch. I don't want to put my hands on things. You know what I mean? It's just not.
Say it's automatic flush. Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
If all I'm touching is my parts, which have been cleaned and showered that morning, it's all clean. I don't touch the urinal. I don't touch the doors. Nothing. All I'm doing is quickly, like touching it. Like if I go like this, am I washing my hands after? I'm touching a clean part of my body and nothing else. Why wash my hands? Why wash my hands?
Not that clean, sir. I'm here to tell you. And I will say this as well. But first off, to get off topic of Neil's junk being nasty, disgusting, which it is, I will say it is a very good rule just in general to always to change your behavior. I've always found it valuable to always imagine someone watching me, or like to imagine like I'm as Rogan would say, the protagonist in a movie, right? Like you are the person in the movie. People are watching you. What would you do? But anyway, I do want to say this though. One of our
clients, right? Sorry.
Well, I will say this. One of our viewers said this, and I wanted to bring this up. The comment was that the candidate left on day 89 with the client, let you keep the fee. Well, it depends on the client. So one thing I will say is that if you have a client that is not in a true partnership with you, and they're like that, then I probably would drop the client. I would say, but what has built me a lot of great clients over the years, and is that mutual respect, understanding, and being able to move outside the agreement if necessary. But what I've noticed at the moment I start being an a-hole stickler, I lose those relationships. Just like when a client is an a-hole stickler to me. And so if you can build a mutual understanding, I think that is really ultimately what you want to do.
And on that 89 days, if you haven't collected your money, your guarantee, I don't care what your contract says, your guarantee is the collection date. If you don't collect your fee and they haven't paid on day 89, no, they're not going to pay you. Even if, well, I have a 30-day I have only a 90-day replacement. No, you don't. You have an 89-day unconditional refund guarantee because it's as good as what you get. The golden rule. Whoever holds the gold rules. And so you got to collect money.
Lets me for that long without paying. That's first off. In fact, I will tell you this. I sent a retained agreement to somebody once, and actually recently, and the retained agreement I have basically says that the invoice is due 30 days after the candidate accepts employment, like when they sign the offer letter. And his comments like, companies really pay them? Like, yes, if it's in the agreement, they will pay. Surprisingly. So,
Egon Zender, Corn Ferry, all the big executive search firms, Spencer Stewart, they all do that upon signing. That's when they get paid the final third of the fee.
Yeah, David, could you post the one where I've collected every time? You want to put that back on the board? I want to talk about that for a second.
Neil, can I?
Yeah.
Can I make a comment, please?
Of course.
You were talking about clients stealing, and this is one of my pet peeves of social media. We always have problems, and what we do is we scratch around the surface. We never get deep into it, so you never actually solve the problems. Most problems are a bit more intricate, and I think people on Facebook and Help Group or all these different need to go into more detail and more context, and then you can come out with a solution. Just putting, I have a client who didn't pay me, I don't think it adds much value. I don't think you can get to the solution. Recruitment's a complex game. It's a very complex game. You're dealing with businesses that are different. You're dealing with people. Everybody's going through their own shit at different stages in their life. You've got to get into the detail if you're going to make a difference and make an impact. That's my opinion. So if you're going to, your users or your people that are talking about client agreements not getting paid, get them to put more detail. And then together we can come up with a solution.
Yep.
Whether it's technological or whether...
So look at the comment that's here, Quamy, and this is a typical response in there, and I'd like it not at this stage. So I've collected every time by sending a certified letter with evidence and the invoice. At the end of the letter, I say I prefer not to get an attorney involved, so please call within 24 hours of receipt of this letter. If I don't hear from you, I will assume you have no intention of honoring our agreement, and I got paid on both of them. So I think it's a great letter. I think that's not the first letter. I think the rule of thumb should always be assume they did not have ill will, or assume they didn't think you were watching, and once they know you are, they're going to do the right thing. Send them an invoice. I agree with everyone that send that. Send an invoice saying, hey, I understand you hired Stephen. Congratulations. You can put in the contract if you want to. You don't have to refer to it. They're going to know what it means. And to whom shall I send the invoice? Or here's the invoice. Pass it on to the person. Congratulations. I'll give you a call. Leave it at that. Let them either ignore it, in which case you could say, hey, did you get the email, right? Or let them call you or let them say, no, we got it on our own. Then you can have the discussion, then threaten them.
We had
go ahead.
We had a case in Australia where a client did exactly that. Remember, I had 35 consultants reporting to me across 7 sectors. And the legal, just as a matter of principle, I decided to take it to the court because the guy was an asshole. And it cost me about, I think it was about $30,000 in legal fees for a $25,000 invoice. And we got it to the judge and the barrister. And what I found really interesting in the process was all the fees built up with all the letters from their lawyers to our lawyers. So you're talking, I've spent 30, they've spent 30 for a $25,000 fee. And when it got in front of the judge, the barrister, what really just nailed the case in about an hour was our documented, I used to instruct every consultant that they must take notes of every call and what happened. And when we showed that evidence to the judge, it was a slam dunk. And we got our legal fees. I think we got 75% of our legal fees back plus the fee. And we got paid. But what I found interesting, it's all about process, everything. And if you don't follow...
Totally. You want to know what's really common? And I always do talk about temp because that's my world now with back office staffing solutions. But in all seriousness...
It's an off button here.
When I was the president of Agilon, I actually hired an internal team to call every assignment that ended and ask for the person. Because there is so much stealing of temps because they justify, well, I've already paid 3 months or 4 months. The assignment ends and then they hire them. And we would get at least 10 to 20% stealing rate. And then we're just in, everyone would pay just about once they realize they're busted. Didn't have to get nasty. Like, hey, I don't know if you realize, but yeah, there's a fee on there. Hey, congratulations, you hired this person. Here's the invoice. And it was prevalent. So if you place temps and they end and they disappear and you can't place them on other assignments, just all they would do is call into ABC Corp, which I need to start a company called ABC Corp. But they would call an ABC Corp, ask them the name of the person, and as soon as you hear, hold on 1 second, and the phone rings, you're golden.
Yeah, another way to do that is just use an email checker to see if the email is bouncing, and if the email doesn't bounce, you know they're still there. You know that happens.
Can you switch gears? Can you talk about, you hate most ATS systems. You feel they're really flawed. They don't do what they need to do, and someone's got to build a better mousetrap. What's wrong with current ATS systems as you see it?
Right. The first thing is, for me anyway, I'm fanatical about time. Fanatical, like mental about time, saving time. And 99.9% of the planet underestimate how long things actually take, whether it's formatting a resume or making a call or all these tiny wee bits. And they don't go into detail about adding how much time they're actually losing. And when you add up that time, it's a phenomenal amount. We all only have 168 hours in a week. And when you look at where the time is being lost, it's jumping from this tech to that tech to a mail drip campaign to fucking... And I used to get sick of it. Over 20 years, when I ran my agency, we tried a number of solutions. And in the end, I just got sick of it. And fortunate for me, I made a bit of money. I took a gamble, and I've been developing my own stuff. And I'm developing it to help the recruitment industry, but also to help myself, because I love recruitment. I like recruitment, but I want to save time. Time is more important to me than money, way more. And the funny thing is, when you save time, you end up making more money. So it's like, it just works.
So how much money did you invest in ATS? Yes, it was a lot.
Yeah, so the asset, and I also want to ask you what you know what that is. I want to find out how does your ATS save time? Because that's a big for me, because everybody claims to be able to save time with their ATS. Like, how does it do that?
The first thing, and let me tell you, and I never hear anyone talking about it. I hear a bit on the surface, people talking about it. People talk about market mapping. So what is market mapping? I'd love to, before I go into a spiel, let me ask you guys, what do you guys define as market mapping? It's a question.
Mapping. Yeah. So all right. So the way I view it, and you may view differently, but from market map for me, from a recruiter standpoint, and I take it from like, okay, so for me, I've always been in the SAP space. So for me, a market map simply means is scraping all the candidates and well, like the people in the market. So these are going to be leaders, people involved, influencers, HR, as well as within the SAP space, you have in silos. So for example, you have like ABAP developers, FICO, you've got SD, you've got order to cash, you've got Hybris, you've got all these different silos of SAP skill sets, and to be able to map other skill sets and whatnot.
1 second. So that example that you're using, FICO, so SAP FICO, how would you map that inside your ATS? Talk to me about that.
Using tags.
And what else? Anything else you want to add about market mapping?
I'm not sure what else. I mean, obviously, you have location, you got contact information, etc., social profiles, but no, using tags. So all the skill sets are done by tags. So you have FICO, and then within FICO, you have like different sub-modules or whatnot. So you can also tag the different sub-modules, COPA and PCA and CCA and all that kind of jazz. So is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're getting at?
So how I define market mapping. The first thing I want to say is recruitment is bloody complex, and it's hard, and it's a lot of hard work. And most people don't go into detail as what foundation do I need to make my job easier, faster. So my system or any system, it really doesn't matter. If you don't do the foundation of market mapping properly, you're just going to be spinning your wheels, looking at the next shiny toy, and still waste your time, whether you buy mine or someone else.
Yeah,
sorry?
Well, yeah, because the problem is most recruiters, what they do is they get a search and they market map that search, and then they get a different search and they market map that search. It's a very haphazard process, as opposed to saying, okay, I'm gonna go into Atlanta and I want to get everybody FICO, boom, get them on, get everybody SD, get everybody order cash, get everybody with this, and most recruiters, it's more of a haphazard approach
Yeah, but
to the market. That's the way I see it.
My opinion, that's the biggest thing that's actually stopping most recruiters making a dollar. And the process should be, the first process should be, what do my clients ask for? What selection criteria? How do they give me what do I need? I need an SAP with a FICO background, with 4 years background in FICO, but they must have come from this kind of company environment with this kind of projects and this kind of customers. That is detailed. If you think about most ATSs, you just do a quick job title search, you come up with 100 lists. You don't actually go through that list to make a plan, and therefore you're just spinning your wheels all day. And 99% of recruiters, I think Rich Rosen, he's $1 million biller. Everyone talks about planning, and he talks about planning the night before every night, and he makes a list of 50 people. That's proper old school. That's what you should be doing, and that's what your technology should be helping you with. So in answer to Neil's question, it saves you time because it allows you to go into that detail of mapping out people, so that when you actually need it, when the client calls you up, you click a couple of buttons and you find what you need. That's what it is. And the idea is just save time and do the job.
All right, what did you spend? Because you didn't just hire someone from abroad and put in $10,000. If you don't mind sharing, I remember you told me a while ago when it was midstream. What have you spent on it? It was a lot of money.
Over 7 figures.
7 figures, over $1 million.
Yep.
Now, is that in U.S. currency or is that in some weird currency translation?
Australian dollars.
All right. So, so how much U.S. dollars?
Way over one. A lot less than 8 figures.
Now, I will say this. I do want to say one more thing about market mapping. To go, one more thing about that point from the client perspective, or from a biz dev perspective, anyway. One thing that I've found pretty valuable is when I talk to prospects, and I try to share with them, hey, here's how you should choose a search firm. Because people generally choose a search firm either because of the relationship, or they're the last one to happen to call, or the one who's called the most, which, there's, I guess, a certain value to that. But I think there's some certain questions that somebody should ask a search firm. For example, what are your metrics? Who is on your off limits list? I don't know who you can't recruit for, right? Those are important questions that clients never ask. I always tell them to say, hey, so for example, say they're looking for a project manager with S/4HANA experience in Atlanta, right? I would say, okay, the search firm you want to work with, ask them, well, approximately how many people do you have in your database? You don't have to give them the exact number, but kind of give me an idea, breakdown of what we could be looking at. And I think from a client perspective, being able to actually have that data on hand shows you an expert, shows that you really have mapped the market, because you can see the biggest network in the world. Doesn't matter if it's all you say, and having that data, I think, and being able to tell your prospects to ask that question because you can answer it, and your competitors can't. I think it could be a big win for you on the business side of things.
Yeah. By the way, the exchange rate is 0.78. So $1 million is 780,000 US. So it's a lot of coin.
Double that. And you come.
Yeah, that's a lot. Hey, so Quamy,
talk about your ETS.
Can you share your dashboard? Because I remember saying, what the hell's this thing? It looked to me, I know you've been revising it because it looked like a 747 jumbo jet cockpit, and David's frozen.
Before I show you my dashboard, I want to make a caveat, because a lot of people, when they see my product, get overwhelmed. They're like, fucking hell, it does so much. And the reality is, if you want to be a great recruiter, you got to learn how to drive a Lamborghini if you want to go around the Formula One track. So there is a bit of learning. The product has a lot, but you can customize it and make it simple if you want to make it. But the reality is, recruitment's a complex process. So before I show you, I want to put that caveat out there. There's a lot of information that's going to come out at you. So it takes a while, a day, 2 days maybe, of, right, what does this do? Once you invest that time, you'll save millions of hours. And as I said, I'm fanatical about time. Anybody that's not using click-to-dial software in 2021 is a bloody idiot if they're still dialing numbers. Do you know what I mean?
Well, look, some people say it's not the size of the dashboard, but Quamy begs to differ. I'm just saying. So let's check out Kwamy's massive, throbbing dashboard, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So are you able to share your screen? You should be able to.
Yeah. I don't know how to, but
that's what
you should have
in the green room. Just hit the right beneath the thing. There's a thing that says share screen. It looks like a computer.
Yep, you should see a little like red line through it. So click that, and then it'll give you the option of which screen to share.
Right beneath where you're looking at us.
Sorry, I actually don't see it.
Beneath your face, where you would mute or
a camera button, a microphone button, and a settings button. There's no
the microphone and the video button. There's none for you?
No. There's no screen share for me. Usually it's there in Google Meet and Zoom and stuff, but not this.
Boy, are you able to share the URL with people, and we could share it on our screen? Or no?
If you want, I'll just shoot it on your WhatsApp, and you can have a quick.
Send it to me on Facebook. Send it to me on Facebook, and you guys can have some banter in between.
Right,
and I'll share my screen, and you can walk people through it.
David, first of all, how's your little one?
The little one's fantastic. She is 2.5 years old, and we are going through potty training right now.
Yeah.
Now, funny thing is, my son is 23, and he still hasn't been fully potty trained yet. So we're still working on that. Not the best at it, but anywho, what about yours? You got a 6-year-old boy who is fantastic at math. I guess my question is,
I'll get him
on the phone.
I'll get him on here if you want for a laugh, and you can actually quiz him. He does crazy stuff.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's quit.
In Scotland, we have primary 1. Do you guys have year 1 or whatever? How does it work in?
Yeah, we have like first grade, second grade, third grade. You know, first through 8th or whatever. If you have middle school, yeah, 1st through 5th, and then middle school 6th through 8th.
Dean, send me your link, brother.
So he's in first grade. First grade. We'll get him in for a minute. He's just finished school. He's just he loves math shows. He's a natural genius at maths.
Oh, there we go. All right, here is the screen. There we go. And let me go ahead and
let me see. I gotta make it bigger. I gotta find out where it just opened. Hold on.
I sent it to you on your Facebook.
Yeah, but why am I? Hold on. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let me share again. Hold on. We're gonna get this down, people. Window, Chrome tab.
Audio on the show is amazing.
Our technology is really unbelievable. It really is. All right, so I do have it here. All right, I see what I got to do. I'm ready to go, brother. I'm not going to be able to see you guys, but Kwame, you do your magic, and we go from there.
What magic?
All right, here we go.
Can you see it?
There we go.
Go ahead.
A lot of information to take in. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, let's walk us through this. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at the candidate search overview. So when you're searching a candidate, your candidate homepage.
Yeah, you need to give us a little more than that to keep the audience interested, brother.
Yeah. She was dying, man.
Right, okay. Well, okay, I apologize. This is a candidate search page, so all your candidates market mapped, hopefully, and you can customize the search however you want to based on whatever your requirements are at the time. The top part is your pipeline of the candidate search and what stage they are in whatever process, whether they're linked to a job or shortlisted or interested. CV, you guys call it send outs, but CV sends, there are 27 people out at CV send stage, 19 people out at interview stage, 34 offers. So it gives you an instant of what you need to do. I mean, you can go into any of the tabs at the top, dashboard, analytics, search, interviews, and just get. My thinking is always, you should get to most things in 1 or 2 clicks, and you should be able to do everything in 1 or 2 clicks. Well, if you need to send a campaign to 500 candidates, or you need to do a sequence, it should all be. It shouldn't be so bloody hard. You shouldn't have to go and buy 50 different softwares and then hire a guy. I mean, we did that in 2009-10, where we hired an integration person. We paid him $120,000, and he had to try, and it took him a year to do it. And in the end, by the time he'd done it, what we bought was outdated. So there was a lot of wasted time and money and effort.
So does the engine light go off when an engine fails? You get beeping lights and it replaces the engine here, or what happened? This looks like a 747. It's good shit. Hey, what's your call history? Does it record calls?
Well, it depends if you're integrated with our call provider in America. So we're partnering with Connect Me Voice. David Perry introduced us. So Connect Me Voice, but yes, in answer to your question, yes, it does. But we're partnered with a company where the recordings can go straight in.
Now, all right. So with that said, let me ask you about sequencing. So like email sequencing, LinkedIn sequencing, voicemail drops. Does it have that capability yet?
Email sequencing, yes. LinkedIn sequencing. I mean, what you're talking about is creating tasks for you to send a LinkedIn message or creating a task. You're talking about the stuff that Outplay does, yeah?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All that is just creating a task. That's coming in the very near future. We're not at that stage yet, but we've got the email drip campaigns, and you can decide how you want to use it. But in terms of LinkedIn sequences, that's not that far away.
Well, Quamy, let me ask you this, man. So I remember you were showing me your ATS. It's a while back, maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's very, very early on, and this actually looks a lot different than what I saw. So I'm assuming you're officially live now, right? You're officially live. You've got clients.
We've got customers, but we're not pushing it very heavily at the moment because it's still going through some UX changes. Ultimately, all software, whether it's Outplay or Facebook or LinkedIn, it's all about user experience, and we've got some touches to do before we start marketing it heavy, So yes, we are live.
Well, if somebody wanted to check it out, though, how would they get in touch with you, or is there a website they can go to?
So, Mohammed's the CEO, so it's called Data Connect just now with a K. Data Connect, KONNECT.
However, man, it's gonna be embarrassing. You misspelled connect. Now it's too late, man.
We're
actually get a tattoo with that. Get a tattoo.
We're going to rebrand soon to Hire Me. So hire MEE.ai.
Hire Me.
Misspelled it again.
Hire.me. That's actually pretty good. So it's pretty
good. We'll be rebranding in the coming months. But I'm not out there pushing this. All the customers that we've got have all come through referral, people going. But let me be frank with you, if you're not willing to do the time and learn how to drive a Lamborghini, this software wouldn't be suitable for you. But if you want to save time and you can invest a couple of days in learning, then this software will do very good for you.
Now, this is a question that I know we're going to do news here in a second, but I do want to ask one more question, though. And this question is probably for me because I'd like to do another demo with you because it has been a long time. But one question that comes up a lot is the integrations. Like, for example, do you do outbound webhooks? Does this integrate with like Zapier and Integromat? So from an integration standpoint, what have you done?
That's in the product pipeline. It's not at this stage. Zapier and stuff like that. But our API has been built, so that will be easy. That's an easy thing that will get done very easily. So Zapier and stuff like that. Again, it's all about API hooks, so it won't be a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, let's connect offline. Let's do a demo. But with that said, let's do some news. Here we go.
The date, May 14th, 2021. Losing our guest behind the green screen. Much news to share as the staffing industry recruiting continues to explode. Pandemania from the pandemic slowing down. Masks coming off faces. Anti-vaxxers wishing the vaccinated dead. Crazy times, crazy news. Now,
Wishing the vaccinated dead.
they do, man. They're like, I hope these people pay the price in 20 years when they see the poison that they've injected in their body.
I don't think anybody really says that. Maybe like a percent of a percent of a percent of a percent of percent. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think it does not reflect to those people who enjoy their freedom and don't want to be forced to.
Oh, David. So you're not vaccinated, are you?
So I'm a Florida man.
So David, I love you, but I kind of hope you get very ill. But I hope you get better. I hope you just get a bad flu where you're puking a lot. Is that wrong?
I mean, I'm not saying I won't. I just haven't gotten it yet. I'm taking my time and seeing how things go. And hey, look, we have Jack on the call. I heard your math whiz.
Hello.
Hi.
Can we hear
Now-
does he have an Australian accent or Scottish?
He has a Scottish accent.
Can you talk and say a little bit?
Jack, say hello to everyone.
Hi.
Jack.
Now,
Don't worry,
Jack,
there's only 6 viewers on. You're okay.
Jack.
Now, Jack, I heard you're really good at math. Now, Neil, who is the bad looking man, the bad man in the right hand corner of your screen. Neil is not very good at math. In fact, I think he thinks 2 + 2 = 5. So if you could school him a little bit, what does 2 + 2 equal, man?
4.
Exactly. I've been telling Neil this for years. He refuses to believe me.
All right, Jack, I have a question. What does 1 vaccine plus 2 vaccines equal?
What's one
How many
vaccine?
vaccines?
Is it free vaccine?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Jack, let's give him some hard one. What's 64 times 25?
64 is 8 times, and 25 is 5 times 5, so 5 times 8 is 14. 14 times 40 is 1600.
1600. Good job. What's 7
Wow.
times 7 times 7?
343.
What's
So, Jack, you want to hear something interesting?
Oh.
Do you believe this, that the IT sector, Jack, that jobs turned positive on a year-over-year basis for the first time in 17 months? That just happened this week on Friday, was just announced today. Do you believe this? They turned year-over-year for the first time in 17 years. And there's been 9 consecutive months, Jack, of strong growth. But now, year-over-year, we've climbed, and it's out of a deep chasm. And this was said by the CEO of TechServe Alliance. What do you think of that?
Yeah, Jack, what's your prediction for the coming year?
what's
with
your
regard to that?
Is there going to be more jobs or less jobs? More jobs
Because you can earn more money.
because you can earn more money.
You see, Jack, I told you
Jack,
he was a
how
bad
do you
man.
feel
He was a bad man.
that your father spent all of your college education on an ATS system that he's not even marketing heavily?
What do you think about Jack?
Dude,
Are you worried about your dad's finances, Jack? Don't worry. Don't be scared.
Actually-
So yeah, IT jobs is
Right.
incredibly great news. Incredibly great news. Now, here's an interesting little story. 48% of U.S. workers feel mentally and physically exhausted at the end of the workday. 48%, and another 41% feel burnt out from their work. This is from SHRM. That's crazy to me.
Actually, I think that's a very important point. Mental health. I'd love to talk about mental health about people. If you guys are, what's your thoughts on that? 48% of people's mental health are affected by their jobs.
I think it's a super high number. I'm shocked by it. I knew there would be some,
Who's
but I think that's crazy.
Dean?
Hey, Jack, can I ask you a question? In all seriousness, Jack, let me ask you: who's better at math, you or your dad?
Could we do
Is it
math?
you?
math match.
Can we do a math match? Yes, we can do a math match. If it's okay with these guys. I don't know.
Sure, why not?
Right, go.
All right, ready for this?
I don't know.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
Other findings in the survey, Jack, and tell me what you think about this. 32% of people report often feeling tired or having little energy. And this is much higher, okay, much higher by people that work from home. They're more tired and they have less energy when they work from home. What the F?
What should people do if they're tired?
Drink.
Go to bed.
Red Bull, baby.
Go to bed. That is a very important tip for people. Get your sleeping patterns right. If your sleeping pattern's not good, it's going to affect everything else, isn't it, Jack?
No.
Yeah.
If you're tired, you have to go to bed to get some sleep.
What's a good time, Jack, for a
very
recruiter
true.
to go to sleep? When should a
School tomorrow. Look, if I didn't sleep that good, I would be late for Hellhead.
Yeah, Neil.
Awesome.
You'd be late. You
Jack,
gotta get a good night's sleep.
what time should recruiters go to bed to get a good night's sleep?
What time should they go to sleep, Jack?
Well, like a time in the night. So.
What time? Yeah.
Maybe 9,
Night.
4 o'clock in the night.
9:30.
7:30. What's a good time, you think?
He said 4 o'clock in the night.
All right.
4 o'clock at night, sir. That's not night, unless you're in the Arctic. I would say
convert that to
for me, I
US.
could have been 9:30. I got to bed
So
early.
there's an interesting story on TikTok.
9:30.
Jack.
9:30.
9:30.
9:30. Good man. That's a good man. Hey, I will say for people who are feeling tired, though, for me personally, I would say that I think a lot of the issue, obviously mental health. I think depression. A lot of people are depressed because they've been scared with this outrage. Pandemic porn. Fear, body count, and they're stuck at home alone. At least not here in Florida. We're a free state. But other places, they're stuck at home because they have bad governors, and they get depressed, and then they eat like crap. They drink. They don't, and that affects their sleep, and so they get tired, they're depressed. There's no human interaction, and it's just a downward spiral. Right?
I wonder if it's because people, they say people aren't working more, but I think that it interferes. I think there's no demarcation of work and play. Now, I work all the time. I love it, right? And it's my life and it's pathetic. But I think that affects it. Here's another interesting story, just since we're running out of time. Are you guys on TikTok? I've seen, and are recruiters on TikTok? Like, we don't hear about that a lot. My daughter, 15, is all over it.
No, it's kids and old men.
Okay, you would think, right? You would think, okay? But listen to this story, right? So guess what? Do you know what TikTok is doing right now?
No, I don't pay attention to TikTok, but go on, tell me.
They're testing a recruiting tool. How's that?
Cool.
All right. They're testing a tool to help companies recruit employees. All right. It's actually in beta right now. They're using a small group of companies, and it's enabling users to post a TikTok video resume rather than a traditional resume. Now, they're not going to integrate it within TikTok, but it's going to be a separate web page. TikTok, what's the deal?
Yeah, I don't see it going anywhere. It may for like lower level positions or customer service positions, stuff like that. But if you need to hire like 100 people for a call center and you're hiring like people in their early 20s, sure. I think for me, I don't see recruiting my next VP of IT from TikTok. Maybe, but I don't really see a feature in there for me personally.
The one thing I will say on that, there's a couple of points I want to add. One is we've been around for 300,000 years. Our psychology hasn't changed. The only thing that's going to change is platforms and the way we communicate. But our human psychology doesn't change. And when you guys were talking about depression and all these things earlier, most people don't take a structured approach to their life, and that's why they end up having so many bloody issues. I got diagnosed with diabetes in October, end of October. So
me too, brother. Me too.
I got rid of it in 12 weeks. I got rid of it. In 12 weeks.
Mine got worse. I went back to the doctors. Actually, mine was done a little earlier. I went back. He put me on the scale. I put on COVID-14.
Yeah, but you got to get to the fundamentals of any problem that you've got. What's the fundamentals? In diabetes, it's very simple. You're overworking your pancreas. So you got to give your pancreas a rest. I lost 17 kilograms in 12 weeks and I reversed type 2 diabetes. That just shows anyone can do anything as long as they put their mind to it. We talk about depression and you talk about all these other things. It's all interlinked. I have a very simple formula. I call it 7 F's. If you get the 7 F's in your life right, our ultimate goal in life is happiness. And if you get the 7 F's, you're laughing. I'll just quickly go through it for you guys that are listening. First is your relationships with direct family. So that means your mum, your dad, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. How's your relationship? Indirect family, your wife, your kids, your ex-wife, whatever. Fitness, health, diabetes. Finance, your job, your career. Friendships, fun, and faith. If you get those 7, you're probably going to be towards most people are unhappy somewhere along those lines. So you get to the fundamentals and you'll get to happiness. That's my opinion.
So David, I think we're
from a structure standpoint too. I've always been a bit of a stoic, meaning that I like stoicism. I like the, and not everybody has or needs this in their life. I think there's a lot to be said about simplifying your life. When you wake up in the morning, make your bed. When you do certain things in a certain order. Have some hardship in your life. Push through hardship. Push through walls. I think like Jordan Peterson said, pick up something heavy and lift it. And that will help your life. It'll help you, I think, in terms of happiness, because you feel like you have control of your life. I think a lot of people that they just don't feel like they have control, and they feel like they're just flapping in the wind. I think having control of your life, even when things are falling down around you, I think it says a lot. Or at least for me personally, I think some of the biggest breakthroughs I made in terms of my personal happiness when it came down to when I felt like I had control, and when I felt like I developed the willpower and the grit to push through hardships. And that really made a difference for me.
Have the control? Was it too much going on? You couldn't do it? You were overwhelmed? What was the story? Why did you?
So it depends. I mean, for some people it might be too much. I can have a lot going on, but for me, it's about temptations and not giving into temptations, as well as managing myself and my energy. So, for example, realizing I've got the most energy in the morning and I've less energy at night. So instead of staying up late at night, waking up late, now go to bed at 9:30, wake up super early, and that has really shifted my energy output for the day, made me much more productive. And so it's little things like that. Or for example, it's having this mentality of doing things out of your comfort zone. You don't want to call the client, call that client, right? Don't want to do this, don't go work out. Like always being out of your comfort zone, and that also helps build that internal fortitude.
But again, so one of the things that you're saying, one of the key things that you're doing is you're monitoring what you're doing. And by monitoring, you're able to measure. And if you don't measure, you can't manage it. So it applies to recruitment, it applies to planning, it applies to your personal life, it applies to everything. When I was doing my weight loss, every morning I would weigh myself, every night I would weigh myself. Now it's tedious, it's boring, it's annoying. But unless you do that, you won't keep track and you'll fall off the bandwagon. Same applies to everything you do in recruitment. Everything you do in recruitment, measure everything and then start reflecting. It's only through that reflection process that you can actually get towards where you want to go to. And most people just dilly-daddly around, and 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. But unless you actually sit there and go through what 20% is actually working for me, you won't keep repeating that. Does that make sense? I mean, you're a buff guy, you do go to the gym, so you know that yourself. Or like these compound exercise or the squats or the deadlifts, these are the ones that are giving me growth. Do you know what I mean? So
100%. It's measuring what you're putting in your body, what you're doing, your output, measuring the results over time, as well as I think having just a structure. When I started making the bed in the morning, it was kind of a pain in the ass. Now it's hard to leave my bedroom without making the bed. I feel like I'm missing something. And so once you like weighing yourself, after a few weeks, you probably wanted to weigh yourself. You couldn't. It'd be weird if you didn't. I think you have to get in that. I think habit building is a big one.
There's a great book, The Power of Habit. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's a fantastic book. And we really are just creatures of habit. And so the best advice I can give is make your habits that are productive habits that are going to actually get you towards money, saving time, spending time with the loved ones, whatever you want out of life. You deserve to be happy. Do you know what I mean? So decide what you want and then go for it.
Except Neil. He doesn't deserve to be happy at all.
All right, David, we're out of time, brother.
All right, my friends. Well, thank you very much. Well, let's do some really quick plugs very quickly. So again, Quamy, where can people get a hold of you? Just a reminder, where can people get a hold of you if they want to take a look at your ATS?
I apologize. You can go into dataconnect.com, the website. You can get me in the Hurt group, or you can email me at dean@dataconnect.com. Yeah, that's probably
awesome.
it.
All right. And Neil, where can they get a hold of you, sir?
Backofficestaffingsolutions.com. www.backofficestaffingsolutions.com.
Excellent. Of course, for me, if anybody wants to look at any of my sales and marketing programs and get a price on them, either Accelerator or Tactical, just go to thedigitalheadhunter.com/assessment, and we will get you all squared away. And with that said, everybody, I appreciate you watching the show. Sorry for going a little bit long, but I think it was a great show, especially towards the end when we brought on Jack. Completely made the show better. I think he ended up being the star of the show. So here's to Jack. And with that said, everybody, I love you all, and peace out.